It was just ridiculous. It's not often that you're watching the WNBA or that I'm watching it and I'm like, wow, I've just never seen this before.
Buddy, picture this. A commissioner seemingly intoxicated by power, a fan base so furious that it finally erupts, and 3 players, Caitlin, Sophie, and Lexi, standing united as the entire league appears to crumble around them. At this moment in our fictional tale, the WNBA is facing its most explosive scandal yet, as more than 200,000 fans have reportedly declared a boycott for 2026, and the count is rising so quickly that Kathy Engelbert herself storms out of league headquarters in a state of sheer panic. Sponsors are ringing non-stop, Adam Silver is livid, and the WNBA seems mere seconds away from total collapse. Welcome to the story the league never wanted revealed. If you're watching this, you're witnessing a dramatized version of WNBA history falling apart in real time. Like, subscribe, and comment, Boycott 2026. If you stand with Caitlin, Sophie, and Lexi. It all began when the players' group chat leaked. In the messages, Kathy had allegedly cautioned Caitlin Clark to stop participating in outside events, golf in particular. But the warnings didn't stop there. Sophie and Lexi were also targeted, facing threats of suspension, benching, and even the whispered possibility of termination.
As for what Engelbert is alleged to have said to Collier, if she actually suggested Caitlin Clark should be grateful for what she makes off the court, that's preposterous. Did you miss the Iowa years? Clark is the Tiger Woods tide that lifts all boats. And we know this show is proof. The highest rating we have ever had followed one of her games at Iowa. The WNBA has benefited from her presence more than the other way around, even though this year for Caitlin Clark was essentially lost to injury.
The players were stunned. Caitlin looked up and asked, "So we're not even allowed to play golf? We're not even allowed to have lives?" The message rippled through the locker room, and, for the first time, the league's brightest star, Caitlin Clark, felt genuinely boxed in. Sophie and Lexi refused to leave her side. "If they suspend you," they told her, "we're walking too." 3 sisters in spirit, 3 teammates, 3 players adored by fans everywhere. And this, unfortunately, was the exact moment Kathy chose to ignite a battle. As soon as the threat hit the internet, the fanbase erupted. One single tweet pulled in 1.2 million views. Suspend Caitlin, and we suspend the WNBA. Reddit blew up, Instagram blew up, TikTok blew up. Fans weren't just mad, they were finished. They remembered the questionable calls, the hard hits, the protective benchings, the warnings over golf, and the sense that players were being punished simply for living their lives. Then came the nuclear moment. 200,000 fans signed a boycott for 2026, official, verified, and growing by the minute. It wasn't just individuals boycotting. Families joined. Kids joined. Friend groups joined. The frustration wasn't short-term, it had become generational. Within hours, sponsors saw the data. No delay. No bargaining. They contacted Kathy immediately. "If Caitlin goes, we go." According to one fictional sponsor rep, this isn't a league crisis, this is a Kathy problem. Suddenly, League HQ started receiving a flood of emails.
Then a high tide lifts all boats or whatever, basically. Like, if you buy into this, everybody is going to eat. Yet you had people fighting tooth and nail the entire season, not wanting it to be this way because other people weren't getting flowers, or she was getting too much attention, or she gets a special whistle, or I'm gonna check her off the ball here just because. And then her teammate cheers for her for throwing her on the ground. It didn't get better. And it's disappointing to me because it's not every player in the WNBA. And I'm sure that there are many players who are happy to have her in the league. And it's like, if it was my league and somebody was coming in and bringing millions of people, like, I would be excited about that, because you know what? That's a chance for me to impress millions of people who weren't watching before. And there's a lot of women in this league who don't have that kind of envy and jealousy and this kind of like secret club mentality that they only want certain people to be a part.
Soon, hundreds of companies began pulling their funding, some freezing their contributions, others threatening to cut ties permanently. The WNBA quickly realized this wasn't just a scandal or a minor controversy. It was a full-blown financial cardiac arrest. In this fictional narrative, Kathy's decisions were bleeding the league dry in real time. When the boycott count hit 210,000, Adam Silver finally snapped. He stormed into the office, slammed a binder onto the conference table, and said, "Fix this, or step down." The entire room fell silent. Kathy went pale. He looked her in the eyes and asked, "Why are you threatening players for living their lives? Why target Caitlin? Why warn her teammates?" She muttered excuses. He ignored them. "You're not stopping golf," he told her. "You're not suspending anyone. You're not firing anyone." Then, where the story goes completely off the rails, the assistant commissioner leaned in and whispered something to Silver. His expression changed instantly. He stood, shook his head, and walked out. No meeting. No follow-up. Just pure, legendary frustration. Meanwhile, inside Fever HQ, the players' phones wouldn't stop vibrating. 200K boycotts. 220K. 235K. 250K. Caitlin stared at her screen. Sophie squeezed her hand. Lexi wrapped her arms around both of them. "They're doing this for us," Caitlin whispered. "Then we stay strong," Sophie replied. "Together," Lexi added. At the same time, the WNBA office had descended into absolute chaos. Employees crying, phones ringing non-stop, inboxes exploding, sponsors freezing their deals, executives hiding behind closed doors. And Kathy, she was shaking. No plan. No allies. No safety net. She finally understood the truth. You can't fight your fans. You can't threaten your stars. You can't control people. And in this fictional version of events, the fans had finally taken their league back. By the end of the day, including families, the boycott estimate blew past 1 million. Kathy's chair sat empty. Her office door remained locked. She refused to speak. The league had lost sponsors, credibility, supporters, revenue, and any sense of stability.
It would be holding the players back from saying, yes, we agreed to an extension. Let's try to iron out this deal so there is no lockout. Right? They'll still be able to negotiate if there's a lockout. However, players won't be able to head to the facility. They won't be able to get treatment. They won't be able to train with the team, with the staff. So there is some things to lose if there is a lockout. Sources: WNBA offers players extension on CBA deadline. The WNBA has offered players a 30-day extension to continue negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement, sources told ESPN on Tuesday. An extension before the current CBA expires Friday would allow both sides more time to negotiate a new
question, which raises some sensitivities of rivalries between players. In the case of Angel Reese, who's just had to shut it down because of a wrist injury, Caitlin Clark, who's continuing to play. Rivalry that goes back to their college days, presumably, where I guess some trash talking entered in. But now it seems on some social media channels to have taken a darker turn, a more menacing turn, where race has been introduced into the conversation, where sexuality is sometimes introduced into the conversation. How do you try and stay ahead of that, try and tamp it down, or act as a league when two of your most visible players are involved, not personally, it would seem, but their fan bases are involved?
All of this unraveled because she tried to control the very people she should have defended: Caitlin, Sophie, and Lexi. The three she should have protected. In this fictional tale, the WNBA didn't just lose players today, it lost trust. And trust is everything. If you believe the fans were justified, drop "Boycott 2026 in the comments until justice is served. If you stand with Caitlin, Sophie, and Lexi, hit like and subscribe, because this scandal is nowhere near finished.